Hi everyone and welcome back to the George Collection. I'm Rachel Rightside Blonde. For today's episode, I wanted to look back into the 90s and see how JFK Jr. and Michael Berman pitched their idea for a political magazine to different publishers. And also I wanted to take a look at how that publisher has recently surfaced in Donald Trump news. John pitched his idea for a political magazine to Hearst, which was a huge publishing company. They published Cosmopolitan and Esquire, but Hearst thought it was too political, too hot of a potato to handle, and basically just didn't see a business model that would work. But in early 1994, basically an entire year and a half before the first George magazine hit the shelves in 1985, Michael and John found a partner in none other than David Pecker. Pecker was then the president of Hachette Apache, and at the time they published Elle, Car and Driver, and Women's Day. It's been said that David Pecker was elated to work with John in the 90s. So here's where my speculation begins. First, we have John going to Hearst and getting a no from them. Then we have him going to David Pecker, who is a very good friend of Donald Trump's, as we know now, and he gets told yes. Also, we've heard from people that Donald Trump and JFK Jr. were pretty decent friends back in the 90s.
I got to know John Kennedy very well. John. Fantastic. I think he would have been president. I think he was selling, he had a magazine named George, and he was going to be selling that. He wanted to get out. His mother wanted him to go into politics really strongly. He wanted to be an actor. Yeah, he loved the concept of being an actor. And he was a handsome guy, very handsome guy. And I think he probably would have been good at whatever he wanted to do. Number 21%, JFK Jr., who's a very nice person. I know him very well.
I even had Juan tell me that Donald Trump helped John come up with the name George, which is very interesting. If that's the case, and Donald Trump was friends with David Pecker, is it any wonder why John was told yes by David Pecker and his company and no by Hearst? For years, Donald Trump and David Pecker were very good friends. And then just last year, David Pecker had to get up on the stand and basically say that he was helping Donald Trump with his image.
Former President Donald Trump's attorneys are set to continue cross-examining former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker today. Pecker is a longtime friend of the former president.
David's been very nice. He's a nice guy.
On the stand yesterday, Pecker told of an exchange he had with then-President-elect Trump at Trump Tower in January of 2017. The Enquirer had previously bought the rights to two stories that could have damaged the candidate during the 2016 campaign. A doorman told of Donald Trump fathering a child out of wedlock, which turned out to be untrue, and former Playboy model Karen McDougal claimed to have had an affair with him. Neither story ran, a practice known as catch and kill. Pecker told Michael Cohen about the story of Stormy Daniels. The hush money that Cohen paid her on his then boss's behalf is at the center of this trial.
Of course, after the left heard Pecker's testimony, they were the first to condemn this behavior. How dare a media company protect a presidential candidate? But isn't that what the left-wing media does all the time? Isn't that their entire model? With David Pecker's testimony, not only is he admitting that that sort of thing happens, but he's also causing the left to basically be hypocrites because they're doing the same thing. Almost every single media outlet is left-leaning and does the same thing, completely burying bad stories about the left. Let's look at Hunter's laptop, but bringing to the front bad stories and completely false stories about Donald Trump. And let's not forget, Michael Cohen's name is involved in this entire story. And any story that Michael Cohen is involved in is probably not a good one.
Is justice delayed, justice denied?
Clearly not in this case. 34 counts, one after the other, after the other, after the other, of guilty. It's accountability. It's exactly what America needs right now. We need for accountability to be had by all those that break the law, because, as we like to continuously state, no one is above the law. And today's verdict demonstrates that. To see him on that stand is to see poetry. It's to see a masterful judge who was quick with decision making. He was absolutely judicial perfection.
Did you know that Michael Cohen is actually registered as a Democrat now as of 2018? He voted for Obama in 2008, suddenly was a Republican, and then now he's a registered Democrat again. It's funny how that works. So it's clear there's a connection between David Pecker, JFK Jr., and Donald Trump. What I'd like to know is, Donald Trump and JFK Jr., how close were they in the 90s? Did that friendship play into a partnership with David Pecker and JFK Jr.? And was David Pecker playing a bigger role in this than maybe we realized in the beginning? I mean, he did run the National Enquirer for a while, and the National Enquirer has been known to publish outlandish stories that sometimes end up being true. What's the connection between all of this? You decide. That does it for this episode of the George Collection. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time.
Of this extraordinary magazine, George, which is a hoot of a magazine. I thought you were a lawyer.
I was.
What happened?
Well, we decided, I mean, actually taking a cue from folks like yourself and you around the 1992 election, that there was an opportunity here to change the definition of a political magazine. Certainly the way Americans were accessing information about politics and politicians was changing. Candidates were appearing on late night talk shows, on talk radio, on sitcoms, and there was a kind of a leveling process. And while the rest of media clearly had caught up with that, we felt that political magazines per se hadn't.
Your mother was a hell of an editor at Doubleday.
That's what I hear.
Would she have liked George?
I think she would have.